kind of talk about, this season and what your expectations are for the team and how is the team kind of shaken up?
Sure, we're excited for this year. We've added some talent and depth. We really had a good time this summer in preparation for our foreign tour and the games there. Gave us a little jump start into the season here as we started practice in October. So still some question marks. We've got a long way to go. We're adding some new kids to a pretty good group that have been here now for 3 years. So I know we're going to be vastly improved, and what that equates to on the court still is yet to be determined. But we feel very good about the group we have. If we continue to mature and come together, then I think it's going to be a great turnaround and something we'll continue to build. I mean, last year was rough. We got a lot thrown at us. We didn't see coming, but we survived it. Guys got tougher through it. We got guys a lot of experience, so we know that we're going to pay some dividends from that as we move forward here with this year.
Today, a lot of the guys have been saying that this year the goal is to kind of run a little bit more. Can you talk a little bit about that? And is that something you wanted to do since you've been here, but just haven't had maybe the depth and personnel?
No, certainly, yeah. We were shorthanded our first few years, and we had to play at a snail's pace, to give ourselves a chance. But now we have the depth, and it's something we hope to get to, but you still got to get stops.
Right.
If we're not getting stops defensively, then we're going to be dictating what we do offensively. It's always been our deal. If they'll get stops and rebounds, then we really stay out of it and just coach them to keep good spacing and share the ball and play up tempo. So I know the pace that I wanted to play at, whether I was capable of it or not, it's another thing. But kids all want to play up tempo, but that means they have to condition for it.
Right.
They have to work towards it with the way they defend, and hopefully this group will do that as we continue to move forward.
Moving over to defense, do you expect to kind of stay the same defensive principles? Do you expect maybe press a little bit more? What are you kind of thinking?
Yeah, we're hoping to get back to, what we've done in our real successful years, play multiple defenses,
Right.
but be aggressive, and then every once in a while try to slow teams down. But we want to be aggressive off our D, create turnovers, create a little bit of havoc, and then hopefully get a lot of offense out of that. And I think between a little bit better execution and having some more talent out there, getting some scoring out of our defense is going to help us overall offensively as we move ahead.
Can you talk about the newcomers that are coming in, what they've kind of shown you, and then in addition, Seth as well?
Sure, yeah. The main three guys, Ethan Thompson's played at a high level. He's played against great competition. He's really good at a lot of different things, and he's tenacious. He's a fighter. He'll guard whatever guy you want him to guard to help you win. Offensively, he can score inside and out and play make. Really good passer. A big thing about him, he's just a competitor. And Zach Reichel's a tough kid, Wilsonville. He's talented. He can shoot it. He can put it on the floor a little bit, but he competes every second he's out there for every ball. And he's got a confident offensive game to him. So we don't want to slow that down at all, but let him know at this level, things that he needs to, maybe areas he needs to slow down and other areas where he can get going a little bit. Alfred Hollins, another long athletic wing, really our first one since, Trace, but he can shoot it. He's a guy that's learning our schemes defensively, but he should have the potential to be a lockdown defender, good rebounder, and he can run and finish at the rim as well. So as we move forward, look for Alfred to be a guy whose role maybe picks up as the year goes on.
And then just Seth Berger, what he can bring as well.
Seth, is our only grad transfer that we've ever dealt with. He's a kid that we're familiar with. We recruited him when he was at Montana, went to UMass, but he brings experience, maturity, things that we lack a little bit. We hope for him to really be a good leader for us in the locker room when we're around, when we're not around, and then on the court, obviously. But he's a skilled player. He can shoot. He finishes around the basket and just plays his tail off. So, he called us and said, Coach, I want to get back closer to home. I really want to enjoy my last year in college, and thought that this was a great fit. Obviously, he was familiar with us, and so we look for him to just really share some of that enthusiasm, some of his knowledge and experience with this young group.
What was it, just kind of going along with last year, obviously we talked about, the toughness and how tough that was for you as a head coach. What was it like for you to go through something with your son like Trace and, that year, and how important was it for him to get that medical red shirt?
Well, it was extremely hard. We're not used to losing. And, the thing again that I'm really pleased with is that our guys didn't throw in the towel. They continued to compete. We got better every week. But, sitting there with your son, who as both a dad and a coach, could have a direct impact on that thing. And then you're dealing with his frustrations of not being able to be out there and compete with his brothers and for his dad. A lot of emotion. I mean, it was a tough year for a lot of different reasons. But we survived it, and I think we're all better for it. I think I'm a better person.
Right.
I mean, better husband, better coach for it. I think our guys are better people for it. And hopefully if we can keep things in perspective and continue to grind and do things the right way, it'll pay dividends. If we just think, business as usual, things are going to happen because we have, improved health and talent, I think it's going to be tough. So we got to learn from those things, not harp on them or dwell on what happened last year, but let's learn from those experiences so that they don't cost us in this season. I think then we can turn all those into a real positive.
We talked a little bit at the spring last year. How big was it for Drew and Stevie to come back from putting their name in the draft?
Sure, yeah, it's big. I think I don't think either one of them needed to be humbled through it, but
Right.
I think they learned a lot about what it takes, and they're able to take that information from what we were telling them.
Right.
Obviously, we know how hard it is to get to that level and what it takes, but both of them are really. It's not like they weren't, but they're even more eager now than ever to learn, to get better, to work on their games. And so if they continue to stay focused and listen and learn, it's going to continue to pay dividends. It's going to improve their game. It's going to improve our team's success. And then what comes from that, everybody succeeds when the team succeeds. And I just know by following the process, doing it the right way, the best is going to work out for each and every one of them, and ultimately our team, which should be priority number one.
Expectations for this season. How do you kind of, as a staff, judge expectations? Are you wanting to say get back to the tournament? You want to say just be better than last year? What are you kind of thinking there?
Well, we still have to put some pieces in play, and there's still some question marks. But I certainly think that not just win a few more games than last year and show improvement. Last year was really tough, and we knew last year probably wasn't going to be the year that we peaked as far as our talent before we lost all those players, but that even made it harder. But this year is a year I think that we can flip things around. We've talked about making this one of the bright stories around the country, our turnaround. And as we move forward, if we can stay healthy, then I certainly think we should be, again, where we're competing for postseason play. What tournament, we don't know, but certainly we think this is a team, if we can get things to fall in place, stay healthy, then we should be looking towards that come March.
As you and a staff and players, are you guys kind of just chomping at the bit to get back out there in front of Beaver Nation and kind of get last year just put it to bed?
Oh, for sure. But again, we've got to make sure we keep things in perspective. It's not just going to happen from day one. They've got to earn, that right here in practice every day. And that's the one thing we've got to continue to teach these young guys, that what they do in practice is going to be what they do come game time. And we've still got some young guys. We're still working on maturity, but I know they're excited to get out there with one another and continue to build this thing and get, not so much get that taste out of their mouth, but show the direction of this program. Last year was an aberration. Years 1 and 2 were incredible. We got knocked on our fanny last year with a lot of injuries. Let's bounce back up and show what we're all about.